Okay, I'm alive. Robert, would you like to do that wonderful introduction like you did like last weekend?
Oh well,
Again?
the pressure, the pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I am Robert Chazz Chute of allthatchazz.com. Erica Conroy, you can follow her now. She's the one waving, and she has the cool hair. And she's the cool hair on top. And the cool hair on bottom is Chrishaun Keller. Hey, Chrishaun writes all sorts of fantasy stuff, right?
Yes, I write literary monster fantasy stuff with no literary value whatsoever. It's at alazar.com.
Say that .com again?
Alazar, AAAZAR.com.
Just like in your handle, Alazar Universe. Follow them both. They're fabulous. And now take it away, Erica. Right after the weather.
Thank you, Robert, again for that awesome introduction. And welcome to our live listeners. Hopefully, if you want to tune in or give your own opinion, feel free to do that in the comments. Right, let's get down to the first news item. So I think everybody has heard about Kindle ebooks will have a warning message if they have spelling mistakes or bad formatting.
Yes,
right?
I have.
Yeah.
People are losing their minds over this.
They are losing their shit. And it's all because of the guy at the Good E-Reader website, right? It turns out that he's known for clickbaiting and is also very anti-self-publishing. So I think because he's started it all, that he's, been very happy to, what's the word, incite this panic.
Mm-hmm.
So just to bring everybody up on what it is, this is something that Amazon has already been doing for the past few years anyway, is when they receive complaints about typos or issues in the book or even, awful formatting where shit looks batshit crazy with little question marks and little weird symbols and stuff like that. The readers can make it, not really a complaint, but they can highlight it and bring it to Amazon's attention, and then Amazon will take it to the author and let the author fix it. Now, what this is actually doing that's different is that it's inserting a warning, kind of a for your information label at the beginning of the ebook that has received complaints. And it's just informing the people that the readers that there might be some bad formatting or something like that. But what it is really the author still has that chance to fix the problems and update it before even any reader might even see this warning. So
I don't see how this is a problem, truly. Because number one, like you said, this is something Amazon has been doing from almost since 2009, number one. Number two, if you're taking the time to do best practices, make sure that your prose is clean, that your formatting is done well. It doesn't have to be a professional, but it has to be done well. Getting it through an editor or getting it through a proofreader or going down to your university in a writing center, doing something to make sure that your prose is tight, your grammar is correct, your formatting is well done. This should not be a problem. It's only when folks want to upload something like my dad wrote a porno and it's just full of, they just threw everything together and put it up there for quick money where you have to be concerned, truly.
What do you have to say?
I think the concern was about the process. So, for instance, when I just published recently, and I've noticed this every time, you know how you publish on Amazon and it comes up with a thing that says, we found 5
spelling errors or whatever
spelling errors.
Yeah.
And they show you what they are, and I go, nope, that's not a spelling error. Nope, that's not a spelling error. No, that's not a spelling error. So as long as there's a human involved in the process, I've been told before, for instance, I remember one time a teacher of English came up to me and said, "Oh, you got this wrong." I said, "No, actually, you affect the effect. You're wrong, and I wonder how many generations of children you've infected with this nonsense." So the other aspect of it is that when I worked in traditional publishing, one publisher I worked with, for instance, we had 8 levels of editorial between the acquiring editor and the final. And even with 8 levels of professional editors and proofreaders, we still got 5 or 8 typos per book. Sometimes you go in to fix one thing and you create another problem. So it's I think we should all strive for excellence. I think perfection to some degree is in the eye of the beholder. And there are certainly quibbles that you can make. So I don't expect perfection, especially from an indie book, because I don't expect them to have 8 levels of editors, professional editors. Yeah. There are ways around this. One way is to have a whole lot of beta readers who you can trust. But overall, in theory, yes, it should not be a problem. In practice, I hope it matches the theory.
Well, I have more information here. There's a guy called John Doppler has written up a very rational article using information from the recently updated help page on Amazon and 2 discussions he's had with KDP reps to explain it all. And I'll provide that link in the show notes for anyone who's interested. But the basic gist is that real humans will be the ones doing this, not actual computers. And that things like English spelling versus British spelling shouldn't be an issue. Real pronouns and things like that, like the Dothraki or something like that, just shouldn't be an issue. So it's just like science fiction names, how we like to make shit up. It shouldn't be an issue. And the odd thing is you were talking, Robert, about when Amazon itself when you upload the book and it goes through the file and tells you how many spelling mistakes it has. The odd thing is it doesn't usually pull that many up for me, even though my characters have some really weird names. No. But the funny thing is, one time I accidentally misspelled one of my alien characters' names, and it told me. And I was like, the hell did it know that?
It was spelled this way up until this point. Are you sure you meant that?
I was like, well, thanks for that. We're going to change that. But yeah, anyway. No, so the point is it's going to be a real human being, and they do have a list of quality control things which are available on their website and their help page. And yeah, it shouldn't in theory be an issue. It's more, things that'll catch out like bad OCRs, like traditional publishers tend to do scans of the print books and have the OCR translated into English words or whatever it is. And you end up with ones instead of L's and I's and that kind of thing. So it's meant to ensure that there's a good reader experience in theory. Mm-hmm. However, John Doppler himself has received information from people that have contacted him to say that there have been some issues that they've had where things that shouldn't have been an issue have become an issue. But it seems to be a minority of problems, and it goes back to the issue of individual KD reps or customer services interpretation of the rules, which is something we encounter a lot, and especially if you're in romance or erotica, how harsh they're going to enforce those rules. Like in terms of erotica, if you want your book to go through review and not be pulled up to do it on a weekday because Carlos F. on the weekends is known for sex bad, ban, adult dungeon. So that there are those things so there is not yet that consistency between how strict they should and shouldn't be, but hopefully that should be something that should be worked out probably over a bit of time. And it's not something that'll come into practice until the 3rd of February, actually putting that warning label up there, basically. Any other comments about that?
Well, no, other than Jason Rutter, who we had on the show recently, between the time when that article was published and the article that you found when people were running around with their heads on fire, he contacted, folks lost their shit for real. And he contacted Amazon, he and Mark Dawson did, and they got back at first a very formulated form letter. And then they dug a little bit more and got more information. And that's when the information started to come out that this is just pretty much a reiteration of what they've always done. Probably
they've just clarified it. I think they've expanded what their criteria is a bit, but it doesn't seem to be too different from what was already there. From what I've seen,
not at all, and nor should it be.
There was a note on Amazon that one of the factors that they took into consideration was whether it was disappointing content. Which is pretty vague.
Yeah.
So,
that probably...
it certainly left the door open for a lot of panic.
Yeah.
Although a lot of people I saw weren't actually. I don't think they read that far. I think they were.
The headline.
They were pretty much focused on first line or two.
Yeah, but
that was
enough. Said, the guy who actually brought the story to everyone's attention has actually been known for some pretty interesting clickbaiting in the past, from what I understand. And he's also quite anti-self-publishing. And I've also heard from others he's also anti-romance. So.
Right. Not only is he really clickbaity, but he is also known for starting and keeping on flame wars in the comments of these very clickbaity articles.
See, I haven't gone to comments.
Well,
no, I need torture in my life every once in a while, so I go down and I read what other people saying, and then when my eyebrows get singed, I kind of back up and put ice on my face. But no.
Yeah. The world needs a whole lot more of that. I think my final word on the subject is I am waiting and seeing, and as long as it's not fully in the customer's hands, because there are some people who will leave a review where they know what they're talking about, and then there is 90% of everybody else. So,
yeah. Okay, shall we move on to the next item then?
Yeah, okay, what else is going on there?
Safari users have been informed that Amazon's going to close down Safari, right? And merge it into Goodreads. But here's the kicker. So Safari's been going around for like 9 years. So that's 9 years worth of data for some of these users. And they're really quite miffed at the short time frame they've been given to transfer all their data over Goodreads. It's basically something like 2 months.
It takes that long to download that much information. You try being on Facebook ever since 2010 and try to get all that information on the pictures, all that stuff down. It is frustrating. And what this is pretty much Amazon consolidating their assets, because they not only own Goodreads, but they also own Safari and most other large scale distribution outlets for a lot of things, including Comixology, the website that they use for rare books. I've used them several times. IMBD. They're just consolidating everything. ebooks, sorry, that's what it was called. ebooks, Woot, Love Film, all of those are owned by Amazon. They're consolidating, and they went to the larger fish, which is Goodreads, because everyone seems to know about that. And it was the equivalent of sending a nice community and pretty much sending the Nazis to them, have them occupy.
Hang on. Which ones are you saying is the nice community?
Safari is Poland. They're minding their own business. They have a nice, warm community. And here come the stormtroopers. They just come in there and blue stepping and setting things on fire.
But they can't do anything, remember. Robert, what are you going to add on that? Anything?
Well, I'd say that Chrishaun stated my case a little more strongly than I might have.
Let me tell you what I really think.
Oh, God, it gets worse.
I think you have. It gets worse. Dogs and cats living together, real stuff. Well, Safari, I'm really sad to see that go, because I thought it had a friendlier atmosphere. whereas Goodreads famously does not have a happy atmosphere, not a welcoming atmosphere.
For some authors.
So, especially for some authors, and you have to be so careful over there that I was in a mastermind group and we were talking about Goodreads at one point, and I said, there was this agent that had this advice to his client, which was load up your books on Goodreads, sign in, then sign out, never return.
Yes.
But it's pretty much what I do. But I've given up even loading them up there because I get there and people have already loaded them. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I remember somebody saying that you should load it up yourself just to make sure it's done right.
It's frozen, just like Chazz.
Frozen,
I'm not a big fan of their interface, which I don't think changed. So, it's not a. I think that it's a great place for readers to go. Possibly, I think it could be toxic to your daily word count if you're a writer. If you're vulnerable to self-doubt, that's not a supportive environment. And the retort is, of course, it's not supposed to be. It's for readers. But there are people who on Goodreads who would like to interact with authors more, but they're probably not going to get that.
That's why we have Facebook.
And I just, yeah, exactly. I really feel like I should have used Shelfari more. I liked it when I used it. I just didn't use it enough. So I liked it, but I didn't support it. Yes, what I'm saying is I'm to blame.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I even looked at Shelfari, so I guess I'm to blame as well.
Well, I think it was generally underused. It was there were some resources there. It was much easier interface than Goodreads has. Certainly, when I first got on Goodreads, I made some mistakes just trying to navigate the site and load stuff up. And every time I've gone back to load stuff up, I go, "What am I doing again? Should I have this right by now? After 20-some books, why is this so hard?"
Well, the thing is with Shelfari is that their concentration was on individual books. You could shoot off into your own groups. It allowed for rapid succession and quick chat as well. So people can actually get to know each other. You can go into the same forums. You can meet. It was particularly like a coffee shop, whereas Goodreads is more like a box store. Right? There's all these books in your sales and you just leave your comments, and then there's the occasional flame war because an author doesn't like a review. But it still is very impersonal. And that's the one thing we're going to miss with Shelfari, which I have used more so as a reader than an author. But it's just the connections that you made on Shelfari. Goodreads has not been able to copy, and that interface, my God. Are they going to do anything about it? No.
It's like Smashwords compared to Drafted Digital, right?
Yes, it is the meat grinder.
Yeah, that's a great analogy too, because both are interfaces that are long overdue in their change, but it's just not happening. And it's interesting, the interaction that was possible on Shelfari possibly made people think that authors were humans too. Whereas on Goodreads, there's a lot of focus on authors behaving badly, and when authors behave badly, they certainly shouldn't do that. But there was a real tin ear when reviewers behaved badly. They just weren't. What's death to any messenger board or any forum at all is where comments aren't regulated or monitored, or what's the moderated. So, that's just not a place that I'm comfortable going. It'll be interesting to see, because the other thing is with Goodreads and Amazon, the star rating doesn't line up. When you get a 4-star on Amazon, that's reliably a 3-star on Goodreads. And so that's an incompatibility that if they start shoving Goodreads reviews through to Amazon, will change that ecosystem as well.
Absolutely. That would be something we will be looking out for in the future. Okay, well, let's. We've got 2 more articles I wanted to discuss. One of them is the SFWA have set up this fund for, and they'll look for suitable self-publishing projects on Kickstarter that they want to donate to. So they've got this fund of about $1,000, and if the pledge is for a physical product, like something like a signed book, they'll auction it off and take the money that's earned from that and put it back into the $1,000 pool. Now, I think this actually sounds pretty cool, but I don't think $1,000 is all that much money in the long run. But I guess it depends on how many people are actually self-publishing, funding their self-publishing using Kickstarter. What do you guys think?
Well, when you think about it, the average donation for a print, something other, somewhere between $35-$50. And so you're looking at 20 to 30 different pledges they can do over the course of the year if they're talking about this season, next season. I think it's brilliant because it vets for them. Because usually the best Kickstarter campaigns are folks that have been in the game for 3 to 5 years, have several books out, and they are currently working on a project that they're asking their fans to help them fund to get it over the edge, right? Mm-hmm. So they have platform, they have social proof, they have works that the board can actually read through, and then all they're doing is just saying, we're putting a little money in the pot, we're taking the book out, and we're exposing we're boosting their discoverability for a mere $35.
Robert?
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about Kickstarter. I've got mixed feelings about using it for projects. I don't know enough about this story, and don't know enough about Kickstarter. I've been on Patreon. I haven't used that well. I know Patreon is kind of like an ongoing Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. I've heard some issues with Kickstarters where, the pledge was made in 2007, and the project will come to fruition sometime next year.
Yeah.
And I think if I were to do something with a Kickstarter, I'd have to be a big fan of that author, and I'd really have to. It wouldn't be so much about the rewards you get from being part of the Kickstarter. It's more, this must be made, and but without seeing more of it up front, I'm just not a huge fan of that model the way I've seen it done. And ironically, some of the most successful Kickstarters that I've seen made me wonder if they lost track of why they were doing what they were doing. When they got a lot of money, it's like, wow, now they've got a lot of extra money.
Well, I also see that those who are more responsible, and I'm going to step outside the realm of books for a little bit, they do offer stretch goals. Like if we get this much over our goal, we can get better covers with this artist, or these authors have volunteered to do a little short that folks on the higher range will get. I do agree with you, Robert. This is not something that you just throw out there, and you've seen a lot, and I've seen a lot of bad ones. They're just like, well, come pay our rent. No, that's what Patreon is for, and then you still have to give them something monthly. Right.
Yeah, and actually, maybe this might be something that Kickstarter shares with Goodreads in that it's really easy to do it badly.
It is very easy to do it badly. Just look at Yogscast. They were YouTubers who are immensely popular, have several content providers. Went on Kickstarter to do a video game. It fell flat. I mean, the video game was never made because they pretty much mismanaged it, unfortunately. And they ended up having to give some of that back. Or the bloke who get the Kickstarter ended up, instead of delivering the product, delivering his book, ended up burning all of them. Did y'all remember that one? Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't hear about that. Although your examples make me think of, even when you have somebody with a good track record, like I remember playing the original Duke Nukem and hearing that Duke Nukem, there was going to be a new Duke Nukem game that would finally come back.
It was,
and when it finally came back after so much waiting,
please!
Oh, it was so bad.
On that, that's
so
trigger warning. I waited 12 years for that game.
Yep. And I ended up deleting it from my computer completely.
30 minutes in, and that was about 20 minutes too long.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man. The moment they said, here, draw a phallus on this guy's book, that was, no.
Okay.
I'm walking away from that right now.
I think with the Kickstarters, the ones that people, for books especially, the ones that you should be looking at are the ones where they've, like you said, they've already got the history and you're already a fan. And if the book is already written, they just want money for an editor. I mean, that seems more of something to go for than hi, I want to write a book.
Right.
I need some money. Can you give it to me? The ones who want the cover art, or the ones who, they specifically say it's for the editing, it's for the cover art, like that. But it'll be interesting to see what SFWA's criteria is for when they're selecting who they're going to be, donating, pledging money to. So
I bet you any kind of... Yeah, that's fine. I bet you any kind of money, they are using this as a vetting process. And it will be the folks who have a huge platform, lots of following, lots of books, and they just want to, even award winners who want to take their books up to the next level or are full-time and want a higher quality of work for their books. I bet you anything that's what they do.
It is entirely possible. Wow. Yeah.
Very astute. I'm giving you extra love for that. Very astute.
Okay, I have a bit of tech news that may cause some eyebrows to be raised. So if you're not a person who likes not safe for work stuff, leave now or stop listening now. But basically, let's see how to say this. There are lots of apps that have been developed, right? But this is a very interesting app that's been developed.
There's a lot of apps with peripherals.
Yeah, with peripherals. That's an excellent one for ebooks. And this one that we're going to be talking about is specifically for vibrators. Now, it's not new to have a smartphone app for vibrators. Your partner who might be holidaying elsewhere or something could dial up your vibrator and tell it to go off while you're using it, whatever. It's great couples fun. That is not new. What is being proposed here is one that syncs up with your erotic ebook. So while you're reading your erotic ebook, the author is keyed in certain things that will, happen at certain times while you're reading through it. And so the app, while you're reading, goes, okay, she's up to this bit, so we will start pulsing now. And so it's a specifically made vibrator with a specifically made smart app to go for these ebooks. Now, this is the interesting thing. In a few months, they're looking to open up the publishing platform and inviting other authors in to provide their erotic books, their ebooks for reading this. So I'm not yet sure if they're opening it up to indie authors, but I think this could be a really interesting opportunity and so much better than that book boyfriend app that pisses you off by twittering your shit while you're trying to read the goddamn book.
So this is like book tracks for erotica? Yes,
with a vibrator.
I don't know how I feel
And I believe the pre-orders at the moment are for $99, which is slightly cheaper than something like the Lilo vibrator products. So there's the app and there's the vibrator. The rabbit, and I think it's called the Little Bird, or
It's called Twitter.
I'll provide the link in the show notes for anyone who's interested. But is this the future of ebooks? I mean, you said it yourself, Chrishaun. It's a peripheral. Mm-hmm. What do you think, guys?
I think that having the full spectrum experience is part of. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to look at the comments, but that's why I'm turning this way. The full spectrum experience is going to be part of our entertainment. Books are still a very 2D or very flat way of getting in our entertainment in a world where we have full surround sound music, we have video games, we have television, where actually we can interact with even the characters on the shows, right? There's a lot of interactivity. So I think they're trying to make it more interactive, and they're going to try a lot of things before something sticks, pardon the wording. And so I can see how this would work. Going back to book tracks, you're reading, and as you're reading the ebook, they have tracks that have, let's say you're walking through a forest, you can hear your footsteps, and you can hear the wind coming through the trees, and then the tree comes in and wraps his arm around you, and then we're into erotica. That's going to be something different, and I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't think I know a lot of people read erotica to get into the mood, but I don't think I want to get into the mood with the book. I want to get into that with my husband, who is very capable of doing that for me. But like you said, when your partner is on holiday and the nights get cold, I still don't know if I want to redefine turning in with a good book. I don't know if I want to do that just yet.
Well, the idea of an erotic book is that you're using your imagination more than
your imagination.
More than you would be if you were watching straight out porn, because it's giving you all the images. There's basically it's a visual, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're reading the book, it kind of feeds your information and gives it subtle hints, and it's really up to you to fill in the details with your imagination, right? And then you go, oh, I'm really horny, so I'm going to wank myself off or jump my husband, right? So this is just adding in that extra level. It's just adding in that extra level. So specific, if you're like, your husband's not there, or your boyfriend's not there, or your girlfriend even isn't there, you can enjoy it. Because I guess when you're reading erotica, the annoying thing is you're like, okay, I'm ready for that wank, but I have to put the book down now. And it's really, when do I put the book down? You know, at what point am I horny enough? Whereas this one, the author's worked out when you might be horny enough, and will kick it in for you at the right time. And it's kind of like a cue.
I'm not ready.
I can enjoy the book now. I can enjoy the book now. But what, Robert, do you think they should make a men's version?
I think.
Well, a dildo already is a men's version. Okay, so I have a few thoughts on this. The first is that when Chrishaun introduced the idea of having sex with trees, I wanted to tell me more about that and talk slow. The second thing is, I think that this little gadget is a cute little gimmick that will probably spike some sales for about a month. But for the same reasons that I don't like the idea of book tracks, because I don't want to be distracted by sounds that I don't choose in the background. So if I want to have some music in the background or not, that's great. Or I just want silence when I'm reading. So that is the immersive experience of the book, is getting lost in the words for me. I'm not interested in something somebody else put in on top of that to sweeten it. And that goes doubly for a situation where you've got a vibrator going and it'll pulse and stop and elevate, and not when somebody else is dictating when you feel like it should be more or less.
Like having
whereas
sex with a partner, I mean, they don't always do what you fucking want them to do when you want them to do it, right? It takes away. It's like trying to tickle yourself, right? You can't really tickle yourself.
You don't do it.
So
yeah, although I think for most people who use sex toys, I'd say that I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm guessing that it's usually a solo experience. So you're total control.
There's a lot of sex toys for couples, though. That's the thing. It's interesting. Yeah.
Well, sure there are, but I don't see it becoming a mainstream thing where people just go, okay, we're going to what does our sexual life miss? Oh yeah, a book.
But you know,
I'll just be over here doing my thing, hooked up to it, and the thing is, I think that one of the advantages of erotica, it's like the way I feel about erotica is the same way I feel about Christmas. It's all about the anticipation. You want to take your time unwrapping that present, because once that present is unwrapped, you just want to. So.
Fair enough. I could, however, see quite a few erotica authors, at least testing it, but not really testing it out. Yeah, I can see them testing it out themselves, but I mean, it would be interesting, and it is another publishing platform, and I assume you don't have to sync your vibrator up with the smart app and with the ebooks, so you can enjoy them separately. I mean, it does look like a pretty interesting vibrator itself. I'll provide the link again in the show notes, and yeah.
Well, if I can control the speed and I might be back in. It's a control issue to me. It's like flying the plane. I'd fly. I have a fear of flying, but if they just let me in the cockpit and let me drive, I'd be.
I think it would be, when you put it that way, the control issues. It just made me think of BDSM, right? So if you're reading about the dom spanking the submissive, I mean, that would be a perfectly good time to kick up the pulses, or whatever it is. I think that's what will be the interesting part of it, and also to see how much say the authors have and where things are supposed to happen. That would be interesting. I think I might test it out as an author to see how the process works. Actually, it's just really intriguing.
And do you have like multiple outlets? So if it is a BDSM, you can place those tabs on your butt so when you get spanked and stuff like that. How is it working like that? Right?
I don't know. Well, as far as I know, it's just a normal vibrate. Well, in the shape that they've put it in. I don't know. We'll have to look at the link in the images. But I don't think it would go into spanking.
I only believe for these peripherals. I only believe in using sex toys of German design that have a pull start. You go,
like, no,
so you hook yours up to a chainsaw, right?
Yeah, these 3D batteries. What's that going to do?
My batteries need to say Duralast on them. I know. But to be honest, to be serious for just 2 seconds before we make another smut joke, the wonderful thing about what we're doing as independent publishers is that there's an audience for everybody. The thing is that it doesn't have to be mainstream. It just has to have its 1,000 fans who will support it and who will encourage updates of it. So if we have like the link that I put in there, the Taken by Conifers or Taken by Trees series, it actually has a lot of fans, right? Because there are just some folks who just like that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Is it going to go mainstream? I highly doubt it. But I think if it's done well enough that it catches on, it will find its little niche, and then we'll find other versions of it for.
Be interesting to see what kind of knockoffs or what even ideas it starts kicking off in people's head, and what could be next. I mean, we've always said smell-o-vision. I mean, Not that I want
really
smell-o-vision, but you know,
really don't
people
want
have
that.
always been thinking about the next big thing. Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait for the peripherals that will do things like, this is what it feels like to be stabbed in the face. This is what it feels like to be shot in the chest. Those are my books. I'm waiting for those peripherals.
Actually, I don't want any peripheral that will give me smell-o-vision for any zombie film, television, video.
That'd be nasty.
Because you know it has to stink hardcore, like 24/7. As in, it's just burned out your throat. I don't want that.
You know, I do think that whether this is a successful thing or not, I think it will, as soon as it is launched on the public. I wouldn't be surprised to see a huge spike for a short time, but then it's going to. I think I go back to my original thesis is going to come back to some guy reading this and going, "But the vibrator's not on. And what about the feet? What about the feet?
Did they take off the shoes?" Yeah. Okay. Well,
If you have pads, they go right to the insole. What?
anything else you guys want to add before we finish this blab up?
No, let's leave this on a low point. Let's leave it in the smut. We're good.
Or is that
Huh?
a high point, Chrishaun?
Oh, okay.
It's a high point.
Okay. Well, we've been asked a question. What if I say Nazi Party still exists? Yeah, no.
That was what we call an
That's
analogy.
French commentary.
It's
For
in
a
America.
fact.
Right. Well, we'll end on this note. It's actually Wade's birthday today. He's one of the co-hosts of the Self-Publishing Podcast, which is where we all come from. If you want to check out our website, it's selfpublishingroundtable.com. Oh my God, did I just say we were Self-Publishing Podcast? Oh, okay. I just thought I did. But anyway,
But I
Happy
think
birthday,
the fact that they'll
Wade.
find it on the feed. Happy birthday, Wade. You're
Happy
still
birthday,
younger
Wade.
than me.
thank you everyone for watching and listening. We'll see you next Sunday, where our guests will be Patrick Stemp and hopefully Michelle Reed. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.